law, breaking the 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 law.
I'm on the 105 through Hawthorne. Mama. Good, Scott. There you go. All right, guys, my excitement. I can't handle it. Let's go. Okay, guys, by the time you go to us, we may be in clouds, but let's still do. Dave, you are on PV. You're on PV. He's going to be exiting here. Well, it's a little hard to see right now. We're seeing some of that fog that Crystal was talking about here by the LAX area, but you can see that LAPD motor officer, I'm sorry, that's a CHP, California Highway Patrol motor officer, was trying to pull over that vehicle, and this is a white vehicle, Chrysler 300, that is not yielding to officers. So we're at the, I believe we're at the Hawthorne exit there, and may come to an end right here. You can see him backing up, hitting that CHP vehicle. You can see other CHP vehicles trying to pull him over, and he just went off onto the dirt medium. So obviously this guy is making evasive maneuvers right now, not yielding. And look at this CHP officer. Most likely he's going to try to do a pit maneuver. The problem right now is he's going northbound into the LAX area, so we're not going to be able to follow him northbound. We're going to have to intercept around the LAX airspace. But you can see that vehicle, white Chrysler, traveling at a high rate of speed. And unfortunately, right now we see some of this low cloud, so we're losing visibility. Just passing Imperial, and I believe that's northbound Hawthorne Boulevard, just passing Imperial. It's where we're losing him.
Megan, obviously the fog is creating a difficult situation here. Visibility is going to be a huge problem. You mentioned a pit maneuver. Officers do have a few tools at their disposal. There's a pit maneuver. They could try spike strips, but the visibility is going to sort of throw everything off for them this morning here.
Yeah, well, check this out. Give it about another 10 seconds, and he's going to be clearing some of that fog. He's passing 109th, and this is actually Crenshaw Boulevard, northbound Crenshaw, passing 109th. I'm going to pull out here, and you can see the fog starts to disappear just north of there. So we're going to see where we can move News Chopper 4. We're going to have to go around the LAX airspace and kind of anticipate his moves, but we're going to, let me coordinate with our pilot, and we're going to try to meet him on the other side. So we're going to throw it back to you and try to get News Chopper 4 here on the other side.
All right, Megan, we're going to stay on top of this. Of course, it looks like he's slowing down a little bit, so it may come to an end. But if not, we are going to stay on top of this. Megan's going to check on that, and I think we're going to take a quick break, right?
Let's stay on top of this because they might actually take him into custody. So we're going to stay with the chase as it plays out here, because you can see the vehicle is getting to be a more dangerous situation as it's approaching an intersection. There are other vehicles there. It's kind of hard to keep up with the white vehicle that they're pursuing, but you can follow the sirens and the lights on top of the other vehicles. Now we can see they sort of cut out of the fog for a moment. The vehicle's speeding up right now. Megan Reyes of News Chopper 4 is sort of readjusting the camera. We'll check back in with her in just a second. Megan, where are we now? We were on the northbound Hawthorne Boulevard, then we were on Crenshaw Boulevard. Where did we turn now?
Trying to get the cross street here, but we're going eastbound. We're going eastbound. This is north of Imperial Highway, so it might be Century Boulevard, possibly Century here. I'm trying to get the location. About 50 miles per hour. So we're paralleling this vehicle. We're on the 105 freeway, and you have to understand the LAX traffic is landing in this area. This is their airspace, so that's why the picture is a little far away. So if he continues towards the 110 freeway, we'll be able to get a little closer. But I'm guessing from a distance and from proximity, I know he passed 108th Street. He just passed Gramercy. I want to say this is still Century Boulevard. So it all started with just a failure to yield. CHP motor officer wanted to pull this vehicle over, attempted to make a traffic traffic stop. Vehicle failed to yield, and we're continuing eastbound right now. Again, I'm guesstimating this might be Century Boulevard. As starting to slow down for some cross traffic. You can see that's a green light north-south, which means he just ran that red light. So he just passed Western. That was Western Avenue. CHP getting right in there. Look, he's going to run it. He's going to do a pit maneuver right there, doing that pit maneuver, and unfortunately it's from looks like it wasn't successful. So they're obviously trying to stop this vehicle. Perhaps they disabled that vehicle, but you can see CHP getting right in there, hitting that pit maneuver right there. Let's go a little to the west so we can perhaps see it. And looks like it has been successful. You can see he's still moving here, and they keep hitting that vehicle. Those trees are in the way, but once he goes a little east, there he is. He's been hit a couple of times, and this guy just does not want to stop for officers.
And at this point, Megan, I mean, do you know how long that he has been on the run, how long police have been chasing him? And, you know, they've tried this pit maneuver. They've tried to make him stop. And at some point, if he doesn't, it looks like he's just going to continue to go. They're going to attempt to do the spike strips.
Well, they just did a successful pit maneuver, and as I say that, this guy has evaded about 4 or 5 pit maneuvers. Now we're going westbound on this street here. So again, I still think this is Century Boulevard. The pursuit has been going on, Daniela, for under 15 minutes. A lot of pursuits, most of them last between 3 to 5 minutes. And when you see them on television, it's really rare because most pursuits end immediately. But you can see this one, we're approaching Central Avenue. You can see this one, they were doing everything they can to get this vehicle to pull over, and unfortunately this vehicle is still evading law enforcement. Now I also want to let you know, since we're going westbound back towards the LAX area, we're going to get into some of this fog area, but we just passed Western Avenue. You can see CHP trying like the 6th pit maneuver on this vehicle.
Couple things to keep in mind here. Some good news is the fact that it is so early in the morning. We haven't seen as many other vehicles on the road, so they've been able to go time after these pit maneuvers. It looks like they got another one kind of lost in the trees here, but
they're surrounding them now.
Yeah, the patrol cars surrounding from all angles here. And at this point, too, it is virtually impossible for a suspect to get away once all those vehicles are in position, once the airship is overhead monitoring this. But again, it's dark. Yeah. There is fog out, but it looks like they have that vehicle cornered.
And at this point, the officers are asking him to come out with his hands up, and hopefully he listens and this person listens and ends successfully. We can see some officers there trying to maybe approach the vehicle, get a little bit closer. It's hard to see because it's dark out there and it's foggy, of course, all those lights, but we're trying to get the best angle here to find out how this is going to end. But he is stopped at this point.
Yeah, and you can see, Dave, let's go a little to the right, please. You can see right now the vehicle has stopped. The driver is still in the vehicle. We're going to move News Chopper 4 a little more to the right here and get this angle. But it's a little hard to see for us because we're looking at it from a distance. I'm still trying to get the exact cross streets. It's either 104th or Century Boulevard, but this is right off of Western Avenue. So they're successfully did that pit maneuver. Now they're just trying to get the suspect to come out of the vehicle right now. Looks like apparently he is not complying with their demands.
Where you're trying to get the individual out of the car. We don't know how many people are on board. We believe just the driver, but we really don't have any more information. They don't know if that individual's armed. They're going to give them commands, get out of the vehicle, throw your keys out in many cases. Once they get out, they have them turn around usually and back away or back to the officers and then face down on the ground. But at least at this point, it looks like the individual, at least the driver, is unwilling to come out of the car.
Well, Scott, you said a moment ago, and just to reiterate for folks, that this was started as a failure to yield. They were on the 105 freeway at one point in Long Beach, and then now we've ended up in South LA, and so it's a bit of a waiting game as we look inside. We can actually see a little bit better probably than the monitors you have in your vehicle, but we can see the person right in the driver's seat. Hard to get an idea as to what this person is doing, but we see both hands kind of
you see them pulling up there. They want to make sure he doesn't keep going, so he probably didn't throw the keys out. It looks to me like it's a man. I can't tell for sure. You mentioned your monitors a little better. There you have somebody sliding by, which probably isn't a safe thing to do. And we have to push this shot because of approaches coming into LAX. We just can't get right on top of it like we usually can. It's a real tough area to try and get separation between us, the police, and the aircrafts coming into LAX. But it, looks like the individual is opening the door. This is encouraging. The hands are up. Slow movements, that's what you want. down on the ground. So it looks like this is going to end without incident. We don't know that there was an accident. Looks like the individual is in custody here. Looks like a man to me on Century Boulevard, I believe around Crenshaw in the South LA area. There may be a little bit of a closure here, but there's good detours around it. But certainly it took a while. The vehicle wasn't traveling that fast, but they had to do up to 4 pit maneuvers before they finally got the vehicle stopped. And once again, it looks like in custody without incident. We don't think it hit anybody, and we don't think anybody was injured. So that's the best possible outcome there.
Well, fortunately, they were able to execute that pit maneuver, and we saw them do it several times, at least 3 times. They kept at it. Finally, it worked. We see them walking that suspect over to the patrol car. It appeared that when they first stopped him, he was talking to someone, possibly on the phone. That's not sure. They're checking the trunk to try to clear that car, but he is clearly in custody right now, and that's a good sign.
Well, Scott, you mentioned this road probably closed. Once again, what is this street here? And you said there are some good alternates around there. We've got about 30 seconds.
Century Boulevard, it's the westbound side. Will completely shut down in both directions. I believe it's just to the west of Crenshaw. Real good alternates around it. In my experience, they clear these things very quickly. I don't think it will be a big traffic deal.
All right. Scott, thank you very much. So you've seen the end of a pursuit, multiple pit maneuvers, but they have reached a conclusion, and it looks like they're going to be able to clear this scene and wrap things up fairly quickly. But that was quite a moment there for some, if you happen to be driving through that area and you you saw it coming. So it's Eyewitness News at 5 p.m. Stick around. Eyewitness News at 6 is next.